Okay, so it's the end of the month, and I thought we'd close things out this time with a fairly quick, fairly innocuous video, a short news roundup of sorts, a pretty informal thing, taking a look at some of what was revealed during a recent Kruby Inside livestream. To be honest, there wasn't an awful lot, but there were a few neat details and some really awesome artworks to take a look at, things that I think we'll all get a kick out of. And so to that end, I'll mostly just be approaching this in a pretty casual way, talking about bits and pieces that I found to be interesting or cool, and hopefully you did too. So let's get things started with a look at several pieces of brand new Thousand Year Blood War Arc anime Core 4 character design concept art, which I found thanks to a compiled post on Reddit by user OddDisplay7227. And this art depicts a pair of transformations that I think are highly anticipated by the community. In fact, they may very well be two of the most anticipated moments of the final core itself. Personally, one of these forms is probably what I'm looking forward to the absolute most from Core 4, at least in terms of things that we know will be there. Obviously, there's bound to be plenty of totally new inclusions that are maybe even more exciting, but of course, what I'm talking about is Kisuke Urahara's Bankai, his long-awaited, highly anticipated Bankai Kanon Biraki Benehime Aratame, which, yeah, like I said, is probably the number one known quantity that I personally can't wait to see in Core 4. And so, yeah, it's awesome to get an early look at both Kisuke and his Bankai here. I've always thought the addition of the stitches from Kisuke's Bankai when it restructures his eyes made him look extremely cool personally, and I always kind of wished that they stuck around afterwards as a permanent cost, an actual tangible cost of having to use his Bankai, something he so rarely does, but alas, that might have been too much. But anyway, taking a quick look at these individual pieces here, for reference, I mean, a few of these shots are straight from the manga, of course. This one of Kisuke's face appears to be from chapter 666, the very end of his battle with Askin, just before he collapses to the ground, as he leaves the rest of the fighting to Ichigo and Rukia, which is a line that I have to confess I wonder if it will make it into the anime or not, considering, I mean, why Rukia? Like, no offense, but she doesn't do anything at this point in the story, unless they change that as well. While this following shot beside it seems to be from earlier in that same chapter, when he realizes that Askin is still alive and feels the effects of the Sternritter's poison taking hold, as the lock on the gift ball deluxe is unwittingly released. And the above faces are interesting in that they seem to be slightly edited versions of shots from the manga. For example, this face on the left looks like a more neutral version of the initial reveal of Kisuke's Bankai ability, whereas this profile shot, I mean, it could be anything, I don't really recognize it, maybe it's from a new scene, but it could also simply come from when Kisuke is explaining himself to Askin at the end of the fight, or it's just a profile reference for Kisuke while his Bankai is active. And then, of course, we have a detailed shot of Kisuke's hand being restructured, which, of course, we see in the manga in chapter 665, when he restructures his hand to increase its physical strength in order to overwhelm the Sternritter in close quarters combat. What's really cool, though, is getting to see these full body shots of the character while he's using Bankai. We can see stitches, of course, running along his face and hands, and also a nice bit of detail on the face shots, as well as that they have the streams of blood running from his eyes after his eyes are destroyed by Askin's gift ring. But also, while this might just be a full body shot of the character again for conceptual reference purposes, it does make me hopeful a little bit anyway that maybe we'll get to see a tiny bit more of Kisuke's Bankai in action than was in the manga. And speaking of Kisuke's Bankai, there are a few detailed shots of Kanon Biraki Benehime Aratame itself, which is really interesting to see, as we don't get to see much from the gigantic puppet during the manga. It appears as the focal point of a couple of major pages, but then it kind of disappears for the most part. Of course, this particular forward-facing shot right here is from the Bankai's immediate reveal during the cliffhanger of chapter 664, while this next shot of the profile is from the start of the following chapter, where we are treated to a double-page spread of the Bankai itself, which was always really awesome. Though, interestingly, I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think we ever actually see the Bankai from the waist down. So to see so in this artwork is pretty cool. And again, that shot of the Bankai from the rear is not something we've ever seen before either. We've never seen what it looks like from that angle. The same is true of the profile shot of its head, and really, I guess even the front-facing shot too. Most of these feel new in some way, as like I said, the Bankai puppet is really not focused on during the actual battle. And again, that's really awesome. This shot, however, of Benihime sitting up is perhaps my favourite, and actually comes from a chapter omake at the end of chapter 664. So this is in the manga itself, which again is a great attention to detail and tells me that they are pulling from as much inspiration as they can, especially since the Bankai's screen time is so limited. And it's really only in that particular shot that you ever get to see Benehime's legs, or a portion of them anyway, and it's, again, very, very clear that she is just a wooden puppet. So yeah, I really can't wait to see Kisuke and his Bankai in action. That is a definite highlight from the upcoming core for me. After him, however, we get a detailed look at another highly anticipated power-up transformation, whatever you want to call it, Yoroichi's Kokubyo Senbei form, that of course she takes on again against Askin, which again, like I said, I think the community is very excited to see brought to life on the screen. Now, virtually all of these shots of her are new as far as I can tell. This initial shot, for example, is just her kind of default Thousand Year Blood War arc anime artwork, but redrawn in this form. But we do also get another entire slide dedicated to Yoroichi as well, and I think, again, these are all brand new shots. And bear in mind that this form of Yoroichi's is only around for a single chapter, but I don't think she ever pulls, for example, this particular pose, which is really cool. This pose here on the left could be a slightly adjusted angle version of the form's reveal pose, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, it is very cool to see. It also looks like her electric ponytail is going to be emphasized even more here, trailing off like a massive lightning bolt or a strike of lightning, which it kind of was in the manga, but these particular pieces make the form look very striking, with lightning blasting off of her form at almost every point, almost every angle, which is really cool and really dynamic, and hopefully is going to look amazing in the anime itself. And, based on this particular artwork, it doesn't seem as though they are changing any of how this form is executed in the anime, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. There really isn't a lot to go on here. So yeah, those are the new pieces of art for Core 4 of the Thousand Year Blood War arc, featuring two extremely popular characters and highlighting two transformations that people can't wait to see. And it's likely that both of these forms will appear very quickly, likely within maybe, the first 3 episodes of the core or something like that. Askin's fight is going to be done with first, I imagine. I can't imagine it taking much longer than that to get to these forms, which again is, very exciting. And yeah, I'm really looking forward in particular to seeing Kisuke's Bankai, but there is no denying that they both look awesome here and very much true to the source material. And then the second piece of news, I guess, we got, which came out of the live stream, was the reveal of the continuation of Kubo's The High School Warfare artwork series as part of the team's kind of April Fool's celebrations. Now, previously, Kubo released 2 pieces in this series, which I believe debuted, I think, in Bleach Jet, with the first image featuring a lineup of heroic male characters in black school uniforms: Ichigo, Renji, Gin, Kensei, Hitsugaya, Uryu, Ikaku, and Yumichika, all of them kind of supposedly looking like delinquents getting into trouble, getting into a scrap. It is an amazing piece of art, and it is cool to see them all beaten, bloodied, and preparing for another fight. While on the flip side, the second piece of artwork featured a selection of popular villains dressed all in white uniforms, pristine uniforms, seemingly neat, tidy, and unscathed, which again was a cool little subversion. But featured in the second piece was Ulquiorra, Grimjo, Neutra, Askin, Stark, Asnod, Xyloporo, and Basby. And personally, this second piece featuring the villains is one of my absolute favourite pieces Kubo has ever drawn, and it probably helps that it features like 3 or 4 of my favourite characters all together when you would never expect them to be. Characters like Stark and Ulquiorra hanging out with Askin and Asnod, for example, though I always wished that somebody like Tsukishima or Hashwolf made the cut too, as I think that would have really completed the image. Anyway, today saw the debut of part 3 of this series, and with it came two, frankly, again, incredible pieces of artwork, this time featuring Bleach's female cast members dressed once again in opposing school uniforms preparing for a showdown. Now, I actually saw these first of all thanks to a post by Neonzel over on Reset Era, so again, thank you for that. The first image features again a group of heroic characters dressed in black uniforms: Yoroichi, Rukia, Orihime, Isane, Hinomori, Nemu, Rangiku, and Soifon, while the second image features a villainous group dressed in white: Riruka, Maninas, Candice, Bambietta, Giselle, Lil Toto, Harabel, and then Nell, who, while I understand her being here as one of the Arankar, she does feel a little out of place among the rest of them, all of whom have at least been an antagonist at one point or another in the story. Renders of the original artworks were also released, which is very cool, and I don't think they ever did that for the initial wave of artworks, but I might be mistaken. But yeah, this is another fantastic pair of pieces. Kubo really is at his absolute best when he gets to draw these double-page spreads featuring all of these characters collected in one place. These newer artworks are definitely more in line with Kubo's recent style, I'd say, with a focus on lighter, softer detail and yet bold, vivid colours, very saturated colours, but they look great all the same. And I have to say, some of these designs really work for me. Nemu looks extremely cool, while Rukia's unkempt hair actually looks surprisingly awesome here, but Harabel's hair also looks genuinely fantastic. Riruka is interesting. I can't help but think the eye patch is a very deliberate choice. It seems like it is specifically designed to evoke Saito Furufushi, but I could be wrong. Aside from looking fairly similar, Riruka and Saito have no connection whatsoever, at least as far as we know. But it could just be a cool little Easter egg. And I have to confess, I remain somewhat bewildered by the enduring and frankly colossal popularity of the Bambis as a group, to the point where they seem to be showing up in so many promotional pieces of artwork. Kubo clearly absolutely loves these characters, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy a couple of them as well, but they really are absolutely everywhere at the moment. Now, a couple of years ago, for April Fool's 2023, the high school warfare theming was used to create a visual novel game, with some of the characters receiving artwork in the style of the Thousand Year Blood War arc anime, and I can't help but wonder if the same will happen for these ones as well. Then there are also chibi versions of the new designs too. This is the same style that appears in the mobile game Soul Puzzle, but as with the first set of images, they'll likely be used for merchandising too. A short video was also released celebrating the series, which is really nice to see, and to top it all off, it was announced that Ryogo Narita, the author of the light novels Spirits Are Forever With You and Can't Fear Your Own World, will be writing a novelization of the high school warfare. And while I'd like to read that, I'm pretty sure it's just an April Fool's joke, Kubo himself chiming in as well, which is kind of funny. At the very least, the high school warfare has given us some fantastic artwork of these characters, including that shot of the villains, which is one of my absolute enduring favourites. Alright everyone, but that's it for the final video of March. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a very short, very brief, pretty casual roundup of some of the things that I found to be interesting, that I found to be cool. And yeah, we're in kind of an interesting, exciting period. We're now just firmly in the waiting game for really any particular news on the Thousand Year Blood War arc Core 4, which does seem like it's going to be a little way off still. But again, I really have no problem waiting if the quality is helped and dramatically improved as a result, and of course if the team gets the time they need to really breathe and to really bring the series to life in the way they want to, the way they envision it. All of that is absolutely fine with me. I've got no problem waiting whatsoever, so, take your time with it. Core 4 is going to arrive when it arrives, and until then, all we can really do is be patient and look forward to it and, enjoy these little snippets that we get drip-fed every now and then. It's really the best we can do. Alright everyone, thank you all very much for watching as always. I really do hope you enjoyed this short video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this new artwork for the high school warfare. Which of these 4 images as part of the series is your favourite? The one featuring the heroic male characters, the one featuring the villainous male characters, the heroic female characters, or the villainous female characters? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments below of which one is your favourite. And let me know your thoughts on the Thousand Year Blood War arc Core 4 concept art, the character design for Kisuke when he's using Bankai, his actual Bankai itself, which was a very cool thing to see, and of course Yoruichi in her Kokubyo Senbei form. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, consider hitting subscribe down below. It does help out the channel an awful lot. Go and check out my other channel, Mr. Tomo Talks Games, and maybe give it a subscribe over there if you like what you see. And also a massive thank you goes out to my wonderful supporters over on Patreon, without who I simply couldn't do this. Your support does mean the absolute world to me, and it makes a massive difference. Alright everyone, once again, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you later, and I'll see you then.